Good, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm going to take our first question from Keith Sargent, NJ.com.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Keith, how are you?
Doing well. Just want to talk a little bit about Aaron Cruikshank a little bit. Your general assessment on how he performed last year, and just looking forward. I know you have the whole spring camp to kind of devise new ways to get him involved, but how much are you looking forward to another full year of having him back as your return guy?
Yeah, very excited. I think Aaron had a great season. I think we knew kind of what he was as a returner coming in, and I think he stuck with the process and with the plan. I think we hit one early in the Michigan State game. Obviously had the two touchdowns late in the season. But as you go back this time of year and watch the cutoffs, I must have watched our kickoff return cutup over and over and over again 50, 75 times, and you just see so much yards that we left on the field, right? And that's kind of, as we take this next step into year two and get a full spring ball and a preseason camp, is we got to get better on that unit. As explosive as it was, we got to get better. I think we will. We've got good players that are on that unit. We're confident in the schemes, and obviously when you have a returner like that, and add another couple of returners and Josh Youngblood and Bo Melton into the mix, that's got to be, and it comes from the top down, it's got to be a explosive offensive play for us, and that's the mentality we take, and that's the first play of the offensive series, and it's our job to, if we don't get in the end zone, is to give our offense the shortest field with which to operate on.
Take our next question from Bobby Darren, 24/7.
Coach, I wanted to ask about Josh. Is there a chance he could work in as punt returner? I know you have some talent there, a kick returner, but what's kind of the plan for him on special teams?
Yeah, he's another outstanding talent, and it's a very competitive situation, right? I mean, this program is competitive at every position, everything we do, whether it's February or March or September, October, November, December, January. I mean, we're here competing, and we've got a bunch of talented returners, and it's our job as a staff to evaluate them, get the best players on the field, and then find the ways to get the ball in their hands. So Josh will factor in as a punt returner. He'll factor in as a kickoff returner. It's going to be exciting, I think, some of the things that we're going to do in the return game.
Can I go to James Cratch, NJ.com?
Adam, the short kickoffs last season, I know it was successful, but it was kind of a source of consternation for a lot of fans. Is that kind of your strategy, or is this going to be a year-by-year situation? Well,
I think program-wise, it's what we believe in from a scheme standpoint. I think, and it's going to change game to game. We hope that our kicker can get the ball in the end zone if we want, but there's some yardage advantage that you gain by hanging the ball high with 4-0 plus hang time on or inside the 5-yard line and pinning them inside the 20. I mean, a touchback or a fair catch is their ball on the 25-yard line. And we take the aggressive approach where, all right, if we can hang it up inside the 5 with good hang time, with good location, and that's what I said, our kickers have to get better, and our personnel has to get better. We're going to do a better job teaching and executing the scheme, but the last 5 balls that we had returned against us last season were all tackled inside the 18-yard line. You might say, well, that's what is it? That's 7 yards, right? That's 7 yards that their offense has to gain. And if we're going to continue to take an aggressive approach, then that's what we'll do. But like I said, it may be a game-to-game deal where some weeks we want to kick it through the end zone and limit return opportunities, and other weeks we want to be real aggressive and see if we can gain those hidden yards in the football game by tackling them inside the 20, 15-yard line.
Take our next question from Chris Eisman with Gannett.
Adam, just overall, I mean, how much is having spring practices going to help you guys? And what's kind of the biggest thing that you want to get done over the next couple of months that really you didn't get a chance to do last year, obviously, because of everything that happened?
Well, spring will be a great opportunity for us to really get back to some of the fundamentals that you kind of miss out on when you almost jump right into a season when you got to get schemes installed. It'll be a great opportunity for us to evaluate some of the younger players, some of the guys that are on campus right now, excited to get them in the fold, and then the veterans who are returning, who manned these units last year, getting them more sound from a technical standpoint, better understanding of our schemes. Real excited to have those 15 practices to take the kind of foundation that we laid and see if we can build on it.
Going to go to Anthony Fusilli, Rutgers Radio Network.
Hey, Coach, I was going to ask about, that same scheme now, the guys seeing it all. But I just wonder, to me, you seem to have a number of athletic linebackers. How beneficial is that for you and your special teams, that group?
It's huge. I mean, you got those mid bodies, those combo skill guys that are not only physical but fast enough to be critical components of our special teams unit. So that linebacker room is great. Our running back room gave us tremendous special teams reps. Really trying to get those wideouts more involved, and I think we will this year. But yeah, those linebackers and the depth that we have and the body types, that's going to be big for us.
We're going to go to Chris Nowalski with Rivals.
Hey, Coach. I just want to ask you about Valentino. What did you see out of him last year at kicker, and do you foresee him being the kicker again this season?
Well, what I saw out of Val and what we saw as a staff was, he worked through some really early struggles in camp. What we evaluated him off of to bring him onto the team as a walk-on didn't show up right away. And he overcame that. I think that's part of his makeup. He's a very intense and fierce competitor, and he worked through those things to the point where when we made the switch mid-season, he was striking the ball as well as anyone in our program. And combination of how he was striking the ball in practice, in live team reps, coupled with what I know is his competitive makeup, we made the switch. And I mean, he'll be the kicker on day one of spring ball, but it is a very fluid situation. And, we've got a saying in our room with the specialists that you're only as good as your next kick. You're only as good as your next snap, your next punt. That keeps these guys with that competitive mentality, and nobody relaxes. And that's what you want in your room. You want guys pushing them from behind and making them bring their best every day.
We're going to take two more questions. We'll go back to Keith Sargent, NJ.com.
Hey, Adam. And generally speaking, how satisfied were you with the punt game? And again, Corsack, your expectations going forward with him?
Satisfied, I guess, you get to the point where your expectations are 0 return yards, and we didn't achieve that. But our punt game was very effective, and it starts with Adam. I mean, he is a tremendous talent. His repertoire of kicks allows us to do a lot with our formations, with our kick locations. So certainly excited to have him back. And again, until you get 0 return yards on the season, there's always room for improvement.
The final question goes to James Scratch.
Adam, I'm just curious, in your career, how unique is it or not unique to have a guy like Larry Stevens who is like a special teams guy first and foremost? It seems like that's something that you have a lot in the NFL, but maybe not necessarily at the college level.
Actually, I've come across it quite a bit because you're always going to have those guys that are the 2 or the 3 on their position depth chart, but it's not that they're lacking in the skill sets that they need to be effective special teams players. I mean, he is fast, he is physical, he is fearless, and he's selfless. He's going to do exactly what is required to help this team win, right? And that's really our goal on special teams. And the way we promote it and sell it to our players is these units will help us win games, right? These units, as we are trying to narrow the gap between our competition, will help us narrow the gap. And once that gap is narrowed, it's going to help us separate from them. All right, and I think our guys are bought in. Again, it starts from the top. Coach Ciano is as involved as a special teams coach as any head coach I've ever worked for. Not only his involvement, right? It's not a presence thing with him. He is involved in every game plan session. He's involved in meetings, on the field coaching, and then game day decisions are a collaborative effort. And when the players see that, it's hard for them not to buy in.
Coach, thanks for the time today.
Thank you.